I'm not sure that in 1989 you saw this place necessarily in your mind's eye. And yet here we sit. So we can't always imagine how great it could be. And that's always an opportunity. So we're going to take one more set of questions here and see, does anybody else have anything that they'd like to ask or comments that they'd like to make about following your dream or living in spirit, especially applying that in your business? How many people feel like they actively do that today? Just a few. What holds you back? What keeps you from fear? Okay, now fear, I like to talk about fear being one of those big, like sitting behind a football stadium. And until you, it's kind of amorphous, you know, right? Until you pull it down and shine a spotlight on what it is exactly. Like, I'm feeling afraid here, or this is, you know, I'm nervous about it. But until you really look at what, ask yourself, what is it that I'm afraid of? And oftentimes, those fears start to shrivel up and evaporate, you know, to take a look. I don't know if anybody else has comments on fear or...
I kind of have a little bit of a comment on fear. I'm always fearful because I'm a big planner. I have a plan A, B, C, D, E, Z, all the way down. And so I know many of you remember when we were going through that tumultuous time with the store, and I had to be really resourceful. I was thinking we were going to, that's why I need to talk with you. I was thinking we were, you know, my husband and I were at the store, was going to close, we were going to end up on the street. You know, I had adopted a baby at 46. Oh my God, how was I going to care for him? And so I started a second little business. I started consulting. We used to publish with Hazelton. I was a publisher and acquisitions editor, and I was, you know, talking with Karen. I put together this little skill set sort of thing that I love to do. Now here's the thing that helped me alleviate the fear. I kept thinking, how am I going to do this thing? I would really like to consult authors. I have this skill where I can look and know what needs to be where, who to reference, kind of how a book should flow, give them ideas, and I was great at it when we did the Hazelton imprint. So I started thinking I wanted to consult, didn't really know how I was going to do it, just kind of was joyful about it. Then I started thinking that would be a great way because after all we were going to end up on the street and we'd have to get a studio apartment and the three of us would be living. And by the way, I was turning 50 and this was not supposed to happen at 50 because I did everything for the money early on and went to school for the money. So I remember this book, Joy of Success by Susan Ford Collins. And one of the things she talked about was this thing we have in our mind, the reticular activation system. And she said that it's like the search and find. Like the minute you think about you want to do this and you're passionate about it, all of a sudden it's like your brain filters out all this little, carrots are 25 cents a pound, all this other stuff, and you see and you hear everything you're looking for. So suddenly, every place I went, people were coming up to me and they were like, oh, I'm working on this book, or hey, I need help with this, and hi, Sonia wanted me to call you and ask you about this, and I'm like, oh, I have this baby now, and I don't do that anymore, but I'm, consulting, but send me your information, I'll help you for free. She's like, wait, you're consulting? And so the reticular activation aspect was a huge thing for me because it was almost like trust dust. I kept feeling like this can never happen, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, but the doors are closing rapidly. But then, like, one by one, I started getting, let's say I couldn't quit my day job, but I started getting these clients, and it started really feeding my soul, and I felt joy helping people with the creative process. So the fear, you got to walk through it. It's never going to go away. It's just kind of there, your brain saying, you've never done this, we have no template, we're checking our computer, there's no trajectory for this, it's freaking out. And you're like, wait, trust me, you're going to have some information in a little bit. So.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up in just a few minutes. I want to ask if you, I want everybody to give us one thing that you want everybody to take away. If you could, what's your silver bullet? What's the one thing you want everybody here to know? If you could leave one piece of information. Okay.
For years I read led the Buddhist reading group here, and so I was all things Buddhist, kind of ex-Catholic, but you can never really quit. It's like the mafia. It's still kind of in you once you've been raised by nuns, right? I'm like, I still love Jesus, you know. But anyway, a lot of the things that Buddhism taught me really helped me walk a more peaceful, less neurotic path. And the main thing was that there's a front and back to everything. And then when I realized, you know, just like your hand, there's a front and back to it. So every situation, you know, when I thought the store was going to close, there's a front and back. Maybe I'm supposed to, like, be in some rural suburb, you know, an hour and a half away, raising my son and, you know, organizing pantyhose for 2 hours a day at Walmart, but I'm with my son and that's what I signed on for. Or maybe, you know, maybe something really amazing happens to me, but hey, it really crimps my schedule. So every time something really fabulous happens, I think, well, there's a front and back to everything. Everything you want to do, you know, you want to do your own TV show, okay, you might be flying back and forth to LA, and yeah, it's great, but you can't be hanging out in your bed just watching Oprah anymore because you're going to be, you know, all those things. So the front and back to everything really changed my perspective and helps me immensely.